We're following some breaking news from Volusia County, where police have just given an update about the deaths of two young men.
Yeah, they're still searching for their killer in all of this. This happened in downtown DeLand near North Florida and West Indiana Avenue.
Two best friends, one sidewalk, 6 o'clock in the evening. That's the last time anybody saw Dustin Rose and Samson Campbell walking side by side, alive. A surveillance camera caught it. Two teenagers, just walking, talking. No idea what was waiting for them just a few hours later. By the next night, it wouldn't be a phone call that told their families what happened. It would be a mother, walking behind an abandoned trailer, finding her own son. This is that story. Dustin Rose was 19, a cadet at the Citadel, the military college in South Carolina, class of 2029. He was studying intelligence and security studies, and he served in the South Carolina Army National Guard. People who knew him say he was a leader, the kind of guy other cadets looked to. He'd driven all the way down from South Carolina to Florida, not for a party, not for a break from school. He came for his best friend. Samson Campbell was 18, grew up in DeLand, Florida, but he'd recently moved up to the Chicago area to live with his aunt. He came back home that week for something painful. His family's dog, Hinata, 8 years old, gone suddenly, not from old age, but from something traumatic, had died. Samson came back to help scatter her ashes, to grieve with his family. Dustin didn't let him do that alone. He drove down to stand next to his friend during one of the hardest weeks of his life. That's who Dustin was. While he was in town, he stayed at his own grandparents' house, and Samson stayed right there with him. Two young men, full lives ahead of them. Dustin getting ready to go back to campus as a team leader. Samson starting over in a new city. Their families describe them the same way: kind, giving, good souls. Neither one of them had any idea that the last night they'd spend together would be their last night, period. On the evening of July 28th, the two of them met up with someone they knew. In some capacity is how DeLand's police chief, Jason Umberger, later put it. A 17-year-old named Keyan Jayden Rundell. The three of them ended up at 213 West New York Avenue, a vacant industrial lot, behind an abandoned trailer, tucked out of sight near the old Athens Theater, a spot most people driving by would never even notice. Nobody outside that lot knows exactly why the three of them went back there. Police still don't have a confirmed motive. What we do know is this: whatever that meeting was, it did not end the way anybody walking in that evening expected. Multiple shots were fired. Dustin Rose and Samson Campbell were hit. Repeatedly. Two friends who'd known each other since they were kids. Gone, behind a trailer, in a lot most people in DeLand couldn't even point to on a map. And for almost a full day, nobody knew. Around 6 p.m. on July 28th, cameras picked up Dustin and Samson walking together near downtown DeLand. Just two friends moving through their old neighborhood like they'd done 100 times before. At some point that evening, they crossed paths with Keyan Rundell. The three of them made their way to that vacant lot on West New York Avenue. Hidden behind an old trailer, out of view from the street, close to the Athens Theater. Police haven't laid out a minute-by-minute account of what happened once the three of them were back there. What they have confirmed is this: there was an altercation. And that altercation ended in gunfire. Multiple rounds, fired at close range. Both Dustin and Samson were shot repeatedly. Neither one made it out of that lot alive. One detail investigators pointed to matters a lot here.
A Citadel cadet and one other are found dead in DeLand, Florida, Wednesday night around 10:40 p.m. Police responded to an industrial property after a report of two deceased people. On scene, officers located 19-year-old Dustin Rose and 18-year-old Samson Campbell, who both suffered gunshot wounds. Police say Rose was a student at the Citadel and served in the National Guard. The investigation remains active and additional information will be released as it becomes available.
It's very emotional and sad. We're very concerned about it. We're working as rapidly as we can to try to identify who is responsible for this. And as I said, you know, it's active. We don't want to speculate about what the motive might have been because we don't know. We don't want to speculate whether or not those two individuals met someone there. We don't know. We're still trying to gather information. So we're just going to ask the public to be patient and be diligent.
The young men's phones were never taken. In a robbery, that's usually the first thing to go. Here, it wasn't touched. That single fact told police early on this wasn't about money. This was about something else entirely. For the rest of that night and into the next day, nobody knew where Dustin and Samson were. Their phones went quiet. Calls went unanswered, except for one person who refused to stop trying to reach them. Rachel Rose, Dustin's mother, spent all of July 29th trying to reach her son. Nothing. No answer, no response, nothing that made sense for a kid who always picked up. So, she did what a lot of parents would do. She started looking herself. Using a signal from her son's phone, she made her way back to that same industrial lot on West New York Avenue. Once, twice, nothing. The third time, around 10:40 that night, she walked to the back of the property, behind the trailer. That's where she found them, both of her boys, gone.
West 2 exclusive. The aunt of one of the childhood friends shot to death is talking with us tonight.
The family of one of the men say that the two were spreading the ashes of a beloved dog before they were found shot to death in a vacant lot in DeLand.
Relatives found their bodies. West 2's Patrick Perez is live at DeLand Police Headquarters. Patrick, the two were just visiting town.
Yeah, they both grew up here in Volusia County before moving away. They were actually supposed to go back home in the next few days before all of this happened. Two families are mourning the loss of two best friends, 19-year-old Dustin Rose on the left and 18-year-old Samson Campbell on the right.
These were very, very good boys that could have done really good in the world.
DeLand police say relatives of the two young men found their bodies Wednesday night in a vacant lot on West New York Avenue after not hearing from them for hours.
At this time, we can tell you that our police investigation has revealed that both male subjects were each shot multiple times.
Samson's aunt, Keyan Jayden, says her nephew was visiting DeLand, where he grew up, to grieve the death of his family's 8-year-old dog, Hinata.
It was a traumatic loss. It wasn't, a passing of old age. It was awful. And then for this to be what he's welcomed with when he goes down there to mourn his loss is devastating.
Keyan says Dustin, known as DJ, came down to DeLand from South Carolina, where he was a student at the Citadel, a military college. He was in town, she says, to help Samson spread Hinata's ashes.
He was supposed to be coming back this weekend, and Dustin was supposed to be going back to school on Tuesday.
This photo, captured by a surveillance camera early Tuesday evening, shows what Dustin and Samson were last seen wearing. DeLand Police Chief Jason Umberger says it's unclear how long the two may have been deceased before their bodies were found Wednesday night.
It's very emotional. It's sad. We're very concerned about it. We're working as rapidly as we can to try to identify who is responsible for this.
Keyan has a message for whoever that may be.
We beg you to consider the people that are home grieving the losses of the lives that you took. And may they realize that nothing that they gained from that situation was worth the life of those two boys.
And Samson's best friend, Dustin, was also a member of the South Carolina National Guard. In a statement, a spokesperson says, "We are deeply saddened by the loss of Private First Class Rose, On behalf of the soldiers, airmen, and leadership of the South Carolina National Guard, we extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and fellow service members during this difficult time. Now, DeLand police are asking the public to be patient and aware of their surroundings as this investigation continues. But if you do have any information that can help detectives solve this case, you are asked to contact DeLand police.
She called 911 immediately. Police arrived to find 2 young men, each with multiple gunshot wounds. Both were pronounced dead at the scene, right around 10:48 p.m. From that moment, DeLand PD moved fast. By the very next afternoon, investigators had already pulled surveillance footage that pointed them toward Keyan Rundell as a person of interest. On August 1st, police hit a home on Lawton Street with a search warrant. Inside, they recovered clothing believed to have been worn by the shooter that night. An e-bike connected to the crime. Digital records showing movement in the hours right after the shooting.
Tonight, new developments in the shooting death investigation involving 2 young men in DeLand. Police searched a home late last night in connection to this case. West 2's Avery Everett is outside the police department with more.
We've asked the DeLand Police Department how exactly this search warrant is connected to the shooting investigation, and we have yet to hear back as of tonight. But neighbors tell us who live nearby the street where it happened, it was blocked off for hours.
I was trying to get home. I just saw everything going on.
Alex Rome says the DeLand street he lives on is usually quiet, but overnight he says it was crowded by police cars.
I tried getting home around 12:15, 12:30, and all across here there was police tape all the way down.
DeLand police executed a search warrant here on Lawton Street. The department says it was connected to the double homicide investigation involving 2 young men. 19-year-old Dustin Rose and 18-year-old Samson Campbell were found dead in downtown DeLand earlier this week on Wednesday night. Police say they were shot multiple times. Both teenagers grew up in Volusia County but had moved away. We're told they were in town to spread the ashes of a beloved family dog. While a memorial site has grown for the 2, police are still trying to piece together what happened. A spokesperson for the department says the warrant had been served on Saturday night around 10:30 with the help from the Volusia Sheriff's Office SWAT team and the FBI Safe Streets Task Force.
Officers probably from that end of the street all the way there, and then they were staging over by my local business.
As investigators continue their work, people who live here say they're struggling to make sense of what happened.
Small, quiet town, nothing going on, and to hear these things going on it's scary.
We did also ask the DeLand Police Department if investigators found anything while serving that search warrant. As of Sunday morning, we were told the spokesperson could not confirm anything at that time. If you know anything about this shooting, you are asked to reach out to the police department.
Rundell wasn't there. In less than a week, this case pulled in nearly 1,200 hours of investigative work. The FBI got involved. U.S. Marshals, Seminole County, Volusia County, every available resource, working one goal: find this kid. On August 4th, DeLand police issued an arrest warrant. 2 counts of second-degree murder. They released his description publicly. Black male, 5 feet 10, around 110 pounds, black hair, brown eyes, and they didn't hold back on the warning. Armed, dangerous, do not approach. Call 911 if you see him.
News starts now with breaking news.
The manhunt is on right now for this 17-year-old. He's accused of killing 2 teenagers last week in DeLand. Police believe he's armed and dangerous. Thanks for joining us. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm Garrett Weimer. Take a good look at your screen right now. Police just put out this bulletin identifying Keyan Rundell. Let's get you right out to Fox 35's Bailey Backover. And Bailey, police say Rundell is from DeLand.
Garrett, Rundell is now wanted in connection with the double murder of 2 teens found shot to death at an industrial park last week. Investigators say 17-year-old Keyan Rundell is wanted on 2 counts of second-degree murder. The charges stem from the deaths of 19-year-old Dustin Rose and 18-year-old Samson Campbell. Their bodies were found last Wednesday night, at 213 West New York Avenue. Police say both of them had been shot to death. The president of Citadel College said said on behalf of Dustin Rose, who was a student there, quote, "I'm saddened to share the news of a passing member of class of 2029, Cadet Dustin Rose. He was preparing to return to campus as a team leader and was valued as a friend and classmate." Police describe Rundell as 5'10", weighing about 110 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Authorities warned he is considered armed and dangerous, and the public should not approach him. A reward is being offered for information that leads directly to his arrest. And if you know where he is, you're urged to call 911 or contact the DeLand Police Department immediately.
A reward went out for anyone with information. And then, less than 24 hours later, they found him. The morning of August 5th, U.S. Marshals, working with the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, tracked Keyan Rundell to a Super 8 motel in Ellenton, Florida, about 150 miles from DeLand, out near Bradenton. Deputies and a K-9 unit moved in on room 126 around 8:30 a.m. He answered the door. No struggle, no chase. He was taken into custody right there and booked into the Manatee County Jail, waiting to be sent back to Volusia County to face charges.
At this time, I will be releasing all of the information that we can regarding the murders, the investigation, and the arrest. Please understand that this investigation is still active. Any details that I leave out now are not being shared for the purpose of protecting the integrity of the case and our ongoing investigative efforts. To summarize, on the evening of Wednesday, July 29th at approximately 10:40 p.m., our officers responded to a report of two deceased persons located on a vacant industrial property at the rear of 213 West New York Avenue. The investigation into both of the individuals' deaths began immediately, and our team of DeLand PD investigators worked through the night and into the next day, and as I said, nearly nonstop until today. By the following afternoon, July 30th, we had already obtained, through our investigative efforts, surveillance footage of an unidentified person of interest. We continued to work with our federal, state, and local law enforcement partners to gather evidence and information leading to the execution of a search warrant late Saturday night, August 1st. This search warrant was executed by the Volusia County Sheriff's Office SWAT team. During the search warrant, our investigators recovered clothing that we believe the suspect was wearing and the e-bike we believe he rode to and from the crime on the night of the murders. Other evidence that revealed his actions directly following the murder and evidence that positively identified him. Unfortunately, that evening, the suspect was not home when we served that search warrant. A warrant for the suspect's arrest was obtained on Sunday, August 2nd, and we began to actively seeking to arrest him. To learn of his new location, we worked with the FBI and the U.S. Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force. Through our investigative efforts, we learned and determined that he had likely fled outside of our immediate jurisdiction. The U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force took the lead and began investigating Sunday, which ultimately led them to the west coast of Florida this morning. With that being said, I can now announce the following arrest. Keyan Rundell, age 17 of DeLand, was taken into custody this morning by United States Marshals without incident in Manatee County, and he is facing 2 counts of second-degree murder. He is currently in the custody in the Manatee County Prison. A transfer order will be issued, and he will be returned to Volusia County at a later time. I want to stress that additional arrests may be made in this case. Investigators are focusing on any individuals who may have planned, aided, or otherwise assisted Keyan in perpetrating the crime or concealing or destroying evidence of the crime, or anyone who may have assisted him fleeing or who may have been harboring him.
Chief Umberger confirmed the 3 of them knew each other and that some kind of altercation happened right before the shooting. But investigators were clear. They still didn't have a confirmed motive. Why they were really at that lot, what that meeting was actually about, that part stayed unanswered. And police made another thing clear. They believed Rundell was the only shooter. But the investigation into who else might have been involved, anyone who helped plan it, helped him get away, hide evidence, or hide him, that stayed open.
I want to stress that additional arrests may be made in this case. Investigators are focusing on any individuals who may have planned, aided, or otherwise assisted Keyan in perpetrating the crime or concealing or destroying evidence of the crime, or anyone who may have assisted him fleeing or who may have been harboring him. All of these actions are violations of Florida state law. At this time, we cannot speak to the exact motive, and we have limited information that points to why or for what reasons the three of them came together at the rear of 213 West New York Avenue, in that very concealed area of our downtown. What we do know is that these young men knew each other in some capacity and met up on Tuesday evening, July 28th, at that location, and that this meeting resulted in the shooting of multiple rounds and the murder of Dustin Rose and Samson Campbell. We hope that his arrest can bring some sense of justice to the families of Dustin and Samson for the loss of life that they are experiencing.
State Attorney R.J. Lariza said cases like this typically get charged as adults, and his office would be reviewing whether second-degree murder was the right charge, or if something more serious fit better, factoring in Rundell's prior record. That record turned out to be long. Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood laid it out publicly. It went back to 2021 when Rundell was around 12 years old, mostly out of Orange and Osceola counties. Aggravated battery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, twice, carrying a concealed weapon, multiple battery charges, criminal mischief, vehicle theft, trespassing, drug possession, resisting an officer, charge after charge, and over, dropped, not filed, dismissed, probation. Right before the shooting, he'd been in a diversion program for drug possession and for disturbing a school function. There was also a more recent incident, a fight at a DeLand school. Chitwood didn't hold back on how he felt about that pattern. He said it publicly, wondering out loud whether things might have turned out differently if there had been real consequences earlier. Officials from the other judicial circuit pushed back, saying a lot of those earlier cases happened when Rundell was too young under Florida law for prosecutors to have discretion to file him as an adult. That decision sat with judges and the Department of Juvenile Justice. As of early August, Keyan Jayden Rundell was facing 2 counts of second-degree murder. Rachel Rose said it plain, such a light in our family. The kindest, most giving, gentle soul you could have ever met. She said Dustin was going to be somebody, that he wanted to make a difference in this world. And then she said the part that stops you. When they took him, they took the very best part of me. We are devastated. Samson's aunt, Karen Chobin, called both boys very, very good boys that could have done really good in the world. She pointed out the cruelty in the timing. Samson came home to bury his dog and never made it back to Chicago. The Citadel's president, General Frank McKenzie, sent out a message to the entire campus, mourning Cadet Dustin Rose as a friend, a classmate, a team leader who was supposed to be walking back onto that campus in just a few weeks. 2 young men, a childhood friendship, a best friend who drove hours just to be there for his boy in a hard moment. None of that saved them. What's left is a mother who found her own son behind a trailer. A sheriff asking hard questions about a system that kept giving second chances. And 2 families now living with a loss that didn't have to happen.